Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jordan here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this particular battle, I will be playing the Dwarves, and I'm going to be facing off against the Beastmen, so definitely a fun matchup, and always a great excuse to bring Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes. Always fun to see those Minotaurs just getting taken down by those things. So, as far as my army goes, this is one of my fairly standard compositions, so for those of you looking for a new crazy comp, this might not be the game for you, but again, it's a pretty decent showcase, I would say, of a solid, relatively competitive Dwarven build, in my opinion. So, I have a front line of Longbeards, so I decided to get an extra group of Slayers. So traditionally I have 4 groups of Longbeards in the front, so I spread my front line a little bit thinner and have the 4th group back here. So 4 groups of Longbeards who are excellent, charge defense against large, and of course the Beastmen do sometimes bring missile attacks, so having to shield it is certainly nothing to sneeze at. In the secondary line, Quarrelers, you don't really need Thunders in my opinion, because most of the Beastmen units, if you guys take a look, Ungor Spearherds have 15 armor, these guys have 15 armor, even the Minotaurs only have 45 armor. I believe he does have a Bestigor herd back here, and they do have 100 armor, so not always an optimal target for Quarrelers, but regardless, these guys are quite a good choice in my opinion. In the third line, Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes. It's definitely one of my favorite things to use as the Dwarves. Not only are they awesome against Beastmen, but they just look freaking cool. Look at those things. So they're ready for some business here, guys. Then I brought the High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer. He's going to settle some grudges here, hopefully. I have a Runesmith with all of the buffs. So the missile resistance, the leadership, the attack. Just an absolutely solid choice for keeping in your front line. Backline of Longbeards, and then I just had just enough to bring a group of Miners, so I just brought them. There's no real tactical reason as to why I brought them, but they're not bad. They have armor piercing, so hey, stick them on the Bestigor herd, and hopefully they'll generate some good value for you. In the back, I have 2 groups of Slayers, so these guys are just awesome. They have 48 weapon strength and 38 melee attack, so just anti-large, just absolutely awesome. So essentially what I like to do against Beastmen is just engage in the front line, and wherever he sends his monstrous units, I keep these guys in the back. They're kind of like linebackers watching a running back if you've watched American football, and they'll kind of just chase in and hopefully be able to get a decent attack there. So, and then I also brought a gyrocopter with brimstone guns. So this is kind of just a check. You know, it keeps your opponent honest, and if he does have like missile units like this, they'll take them a long time because Beastmen's missile units are so low quality that it'll take them like half a battle of just shooting on these guys to take them down. And again, if they don't have missile units, it's a huge payoff because you can just stick it on a Cygor or Minotaurs and they'll generate great value with their anti-large bonus. So my opponent, he has Ungor Raiders. He has Ungor Spearman Herd. So these are anti-large charge defense. Not necessarily super great against Dwarves for any particular reason, but decent fodder unit. And in the back, he wisely brought Minotaurs with shields. He brought another group of Minotaurs with shields over there. So that's definitely a good choice against the Dwarves. It'll help against Quarreler fire and hopefully compensate for their low armor. He has Bestigor herds here. Personally, I think they're a pretty good choice against the Dwarves. They have armor piercing, and again, all of Dwarvish units, if you guys take a look, even these Quarrelers here, they have 80 armor. So definitely, perhaps bringing a few more Bestigors would have been a good choice. But regardless, these Minotaurs do have very good armor piercing capabilities. He also brought 2 Gorbles, so in a classic Beastmen fashion, these guys will be chasing my Dwarven Lords here. Looks like he has a potion on both of those. He has a Cygor, which is great, and you can see my gyrocopter's already shooting. And then, of course, he has more Minotaurs. And I believe in terms of his leadership, he has Kazrek the One Eye. So definitely a very fun lore matchup here. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So he advances up the hill. He doesn't have much of a choice. So I just start shooting my Quarrelers over at his missile units. And you can see my Quarrelers are actually doing pretty good damage right away and tanking their leadership from damage and all that stuff. And thankfully, that Cygor did miss there. So definitely going to be a pitched battle here in the forest. The Dwarves are getting ready for action as the beasts march up the hill here. And he definitely has a scary force, though. But thankfully for me, guys, he has 1 group of Minotaurs here and 1 here. So I can basically just... Oh, my Slayers they're lacking behind. Oh, did I forget to path them? That's not good. Well, they'll be here soon. They're pretty quick. And regardless, wherever these Minotaurs go, I'm sending the Slayers. Wherever this group goes, I'm sending the other group of Slayers. And that will pretty much, at its core, deal with that threat. So you guys can see the Slayers are coming, and they shouldn't be too late to the party. So in the front line, the Longbeards have engaged with the Ungor herds. So those Ungor herds without armor piercing are going to do absolutely nothing to the Dwarves. But unfortunately for me, their big brothers are coming in. But I do have the charge defense, which is pretty good. So you can see the Minotaurs didn't penetrate that deeply, but they did get deep enough to warrant this retreat. So I then pull back my Quarrelers. As soon as the engagement happens, I pull them back to the 3rd line, and you can see the Slayers come up. So it's kind of like in Gladiator when the archers fire and then the infantry march past and take them out. So the Slayers have engaged here. Things are going pretty well for me in this front line. And you can see everyone's getting tied up. The Slayers are attacking the Minotaurs. This Gorbel has also been enveloped by Minotaurs, and things are going pretty well for me here. And also you can see, I noticed that I had a weak point in my flank, so I pulled the Miners over, and that's kind of what you want to do as the Dwarves. Just think of it like a chess match. You see where your opponent deploys their cards, your Slayer is your Rook or whatever, your Queen, whatever you'd like to say, and you plug it in to deal with their threat, and then, you know, send whatever auxiliary troops you have if they're not doing fancy flank maneuvers to plug in. So in here, I got my Runesmith here. He's providing buffs to all of these units, so he's generating huge value. That was definitely a brutal Cygor attack. It did hit my Trollhammers directly and took out a massive portion of them, so that was very unfortunate. But the Trollhammers are in here, and they're still just shooting this Gorbel right in the face. But I realized that they're kind of in danger here, so I pulled them back. And you see, that's what's really nice about the Dwarves. Once you can stabilize the front line, you can then pull back your missile units and just kind of develop a firing line. And he's tied up here. He can't really move. And he's just being teed off on by Quarrelers, and the Trollhammers here are going to take some nice shots, and he's going to be going down here relatively shortly. So one thing about the Trollhammers is they do have a very low rate of fire, which is a little, you know, depressing at times. But when they do connect here, they're about to take their shot. You can see this guy is just going to be chased off, and he had to use his potion, and they're even burning through it, and now he's broken. So great value out of those Trollhammer torpedoes. Over here, my flank is having a little bit of trouble, but look at these Longbeards. They have like 20% of their health, and their leadership is still 30, and they also have the support of these Slayers, which is nice. But that just goes to show that if you have a Runesmith nearby, as well as High King Thorgrim, he also provides perpetual leadership buffs. It's just great value out of that. So right now, things are, I would say, are going pretty well. A lot of his monstrous units, including the Gorbels, are just being heavily focused by my range units, and I have ample protection for these guys back here. He didn't bring Centaurs with great weapons, which I think are an absolutely amazing choice against Dwarves. If you're playing the Beastmen, always bring just at least one group. Imagine the frustration he could be causing by just cycle charging back here and just doing great work. So, and again, that Cygor is continuing to throw, but his line is starting to collapse. The Dwarves, you know, very sturdy and resilient. The Slayers were able to just plug in and deal with that Minotaur threat, and you can see a lot of these guys are starting to take off, and pretty much now he just has mostly fodder units left in the front line. Over here, he does have the Bestigor herd, which is doing pretty good. I mean, you guys saw the one point that I essentially lost in the front line was where that Bestigor herd was. So I think perhaps bringing a few of those, because they won't suffer from the anti-large that, you know, the Beastmen are often, you know, victimized for. So for example, he brought these Minotaurs. If he had replaced those with Bestigor herds, I think that would have been a better choice, because then my Slayers would not have been as effective. So he does pull this Gorbel. It did route, but it came back from route. So it's providing me a little bit of trouble back here, but you guys can see, again, the Runesmith just generating huge value, and I'm continuing to shoot his missile units so they don't rain fire on my troops in the forest. And I did send this Thane over here, and the Trollhammers are shooting this guy also. So he's starting to take some good damage from those Trollhammers, and his leadership is now at 36, and it will quickly tank from the Thane. And now the Slayers are here. They're gonna, hopefully we'll see some jump kick animations. That's my favorite one, when the Slayers fly in there and do the flying jump kick. But regardless, you can see the Cygor. Look how fast Slayers take him down with that anti-large, because not only do they have 48 weapon strength and 39 melee attack with the supplemental buffs there, but they're also going to get that anti-large bonus, and you can see he's taking Trollhammer fire, just absolutely great. So right now, I just send this other group of Quarrelers to cover each other. That's something to think about with ranged units too. You always want to keep a little bit of a stagger, guys, because if you do, they can then cover each other when one is flanked. So definitely worked out well against the Beastmen, and you can see the High King and the boys, they're just chasing down the beasts and making sure they do not come back. So definitely a really good game on my opponent's part. It was a lot of fun. I would say one of the issues was he needed more Bestigor herds, I think. And these Minotaurs, although they did great, they were just great targets for those Slayers, and they just were allowed to generate too much value. Did a very good job countering my Gyrocopter, so a lot of that was a composition matchup there. So he had so many monstrous units. High King did pretty good. He took a little bit of a beating, but was able to survive, and I can't say enough. Longbeards have got to be one of my favorite units in this game. Just cost-effective. They're cheap. They just are durable. They almost never route. Just such good value for the price that you're paying. And of course, the Iron Drakes didn't necessarily rack up a lot of kills, but you could see that they were doing quite well against those Gorbels and other units like that. So again, huge fan of the Iron Drakes. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content. And also, the DLC giveaway has concluded. So I messaged 3 of you guys with the details. You go ahead and add me on Steam, and I will get you your DLCs. And I'll also announce the winners in the comment section of this video. So thanks again, guys, and have an excellent night. Take care.